So in this video, we're gonna be going over all things stretching and warm-up wise when it comes to your training, your workouts, okay? This is definitely a big area that goes overlooked, I would say, by most people, including myself. When I first started training the first few years, I didn't really take into account how important a proper warm-up is before your workouts, okay? So many people walk into the gym, go straight to their first exercise without doing any sort of proper warm-up, which can lead to a lot of results being left on the table because your performance will be suboptimal, okay, as you'll see here in just a sec. But in this video, I want to go over all things dynamic stretching, static stretching, how to do a proper warm-up, and the benefits of doing a proper warm-up. Now, the very first thing that you should be doing prior to your workouts, rather than just walking straight into the gym and going to your first exercise, the bench press or squat, whatever it is, spend 5 to 7, maximum 10 minutes doing just raising your body temperature. Pick any cardio machine, any piece of equipment that you prefer, bike, elliptical, treadmill, Stairmaster, again, whatever you prefer is fine, just to raise your body temperature, okay? There are 3 key benefits that this will bring, and it will drastically improve your quality and the intensity of your session, okay? So first things first, obviously it will greatly reduce the risk of injury when your body is warmed up, okay? So many people, like I just mentioned, walk into the gym and go straight into a heavy bench press or a heavy squat, deadlift, whatever it is, and that's when you're most prone to injury. When your body's cold, there's no blood flow going. When you raise your body temperature, again, it reduces the risk of injury a lot, okay? Second is just being mentally checked in, okay? This is a big tip for anyone that struggles with the motivation side of things of working out. People that don't want to be in the gym or hate exercising, the warm-up is a huge, can help you massively with this, okay? This is the time that you should be spending and thinking and visualizing of the session ahead, of the next 60, 75 minutes or whatever it is, okay? So again, spend 5-7 minutes on a piece of equipment, visualize the workout ahead, look at whatever the workout is that you have planned out, and visualize yourself doing it, okay? This will help you get mentally checked in, you're mentally there, present, ready to work out, and more importantly, you'll establish a better mind-muscle connection when you're mentally checked in, okay? When you come straight from the gym, from like work or whatever, you have so many other things going on mentally, work stuff, family stuff, friend, whatever it is, and a lot of time you're not even thinking of the workout, you're just going through the movement, okay? When you're present, when you're mentally checked in, when you establish mind-muscle connection, I promise you, your results, your intensity, your performance is gonna be 10x higher than if you were to just walk in and think about, oh, what a bad day I had at work, whatever it is. So again, please, this is a massive tip. I've been doing this. This is the main thing that, for me, I work out 6 days a week. Obviously, I'm not gonna be motivated every day to work out. It's just getting myself into being mentally checked in that helps me get my intensity and get a good workout in, is spending that 5-7 minutes visualizing the workout and getting warmed up properly to raise my body temperature, okay? The third and final pro, a big one, is you're gonna be a lot stronger especially in your compound movements if you do a proper warm-up. As you can imagine, if you have a lot of blood flow, if your body temperature is higher, you're gonna be a lot stronger when you go do a bench press or squat or deadlift or whatever it is, versus if you just go on cold, okay? So those are the 3 biggest pros of just raising your body temperature prior to starting a workout. Number 1, obviously, reducing the risk of injury massively. Number 2, mentally checked in, establishing a better mind-muscle connection. And number 3, you're gonna be a lot stronger, especially in your compound movements. So now we're gonna be discussing dynamic stretches versus static stretches, okay? Dynamic stretches, obviously the only difference between the two is with dynamic stretches, you're moving while you're stretching out the muscle, versus static stretches, you're staying in place while stretching that muscle, okay? The difference is with the two, I would recommend doing dynamic stretches pre-workout and static stretches post-workout, just because with static stretches, you're gonna be going in cold and you don't wanna be stretching your muscles too much when they're cold. It's much better to stretch them when they're warmed up at the end of the workout, okay? Dynamic stretches, you're moving, you're getting blood flow up, and it's a little bit better, and you're getting your more muscles and joints kind of warmed up at the same time, versus static stretches, you're kind of just focusing on that one muscle, okay? So again, dynamic stretches pre-workout, static stretches post-workout, and now I'm gonna be showing you exactly what I do, my dynamic stretches routine. I have 2, one for upper body, primarily for the rotator cuffs, and one for lower body, primarily for the hip flexors, okay? These are two probably of the most susceptible muscles to injury. You see so many guys having shoulder pain, rotator cuff stuff from doing more poor bench press, and again, hip flexor stuff around their hips and their lower back are usually the most prominent places for injury. So that's why I always make sure to warm these areas up, and you can actually strengthen your hip flexors as well as your rotator cuffs when you start to progress with heavier bench presses or heavier squats, stuff like that. So again, I'm gonna be showing you exactly what I do for both my upper body routine and my lower body routine. Now I'll show you guys what I do for my lower body. So first things first, I split this up into two parts. So first thing I do is kind of do one leg at a time. I go kind of warming up my hip flexors here. So I do 10 of that per side, 10 on my right, 10 on my left, and then I'll go over and do the same thing but on the front. So again, just up, down, really getting that full stretch, full squeeze, and doing 10 to 12 on my right, 10 to 12 on my left. Okay, so again, I start off with 5-7 minutes on the treadmill, and then I do that. And then I usually foam roll just my lower back as well. Prior, if I'm doing squatting, I find foam rolling helps tremendously, kind of loosen up the muscles, especially the lower back. If you're someone that has tight hips, tight hamstrings, or a tight lower back, I would highly recommend doing foam rolling as well. With my upper body dynamics warm up, again, I do this every time I do chest and shoulder. I do a 3-part kind of shoulder warm up, okay? First thing I do is I grab two 5-pound weights, 2.5 kilogram weights, and I start off by doing 10, kind of going forward and back, okay? Forward, just so it's parallel to the ground, and then back. Forward, again, forward and back. So I do about 10, maybe 15 of these. And this really, you can really feel your rotator cuff activating and again, warming up, okay? So 10 to 15 of those. Then I keep the weights. I do, instead of here, I bring my arms back to my sides, and I do from side to side, just like that. In, out, and you'll really feel your rotator cuff being activated here, being properly stretched out. So again, here I do 10, maybe 15 in total. And then once I've done that, I keep one of these weights and I warm up my actual chest, okay? So I'll grab, again, 2.5 kilogram, maybe 5 pounds, and do one side at a time and really stretch out, do full circle swings, really stretch out the pec, and instead of just kind of swinging your arm, really open up your chest, like really stretch it out here, and go forward. Stretch, like really try to stretch that chest actively, and this will really help you get those muscle fibers working and activated for your bench press or dumbbell, whatever you're about to do. So again, 10 to 12 per side, both sides, and really focus on stretching. Every time here, you should feel the stretch in your chest opening up, right? And then once I've done 10 per side, I'll do the exact same, but reverse. So instead of here, I'll now go reverse. So again, 10, 12 per side, switch sides. 10, 12 per side. Nothing crazy. You can easily do that within 5 minutes, and I promise you that will not only activate your chest, your actual muscle fibers in your chest, but it'll keep your rotators warm, it'll keep your rotator protected, and your risk of injury is going to be reduced significantly. So give that a try next time you have a chest or shoulder workout. And to wrap up this video, we're going to be talking about static stretching and kind of what to do after or post workout. Okay, so again, I mentioned I always recommend doing dynamic stretches at the start of the workout, pre-workout, to actively get your muscles engaged and fired up. And obviously reducing the risk of injury, and then static stretching post-workout, okay? So with me, I fall victim to this as well. I don't do nearly as much stretching as I should, and I'm assuming most of you guys, most people definitely do not do as much stretching as they should either, okay? So with stretching, it is definitely important because when your muscles are more flexible, obviously your range of motion in your workout, in your exercises, is gonna be a lot better, okay? If you're so inflexible you can't even do a full squat to parallel with good range of motion, you're missing out on a lot of muscle growth there, okay? So again, it really depends on your level of flexibility, how flexible you are already. But again, if you're someone that is very inflexible, I would definitely spend more time focusing on loosening up those muscles so you can actually get a better range of motion throughout your workout, because I promise you it will yield significantly better results if you're able to do full range of motion on all your exercises, okay? Luckily for me, I wouldn't say I'm super flexible, but I'm also not super inflexible. So I can do pretty much full range of motion for every exercise without any flexibility issues. So again, it really depends on you. Kind of self-assess, see where you're at, and test yourself during the workouts. Push yourself and see if you can do the full range of motion. If you can't, then obviously you gotta spend more time doing stretches. Some of the basic stretches that I pretty much, stable stretches that I do almost every workout. Again, I mentioned foam rolling. This is awesome. For me, I'm pretty lazy. So with foam rolling, kind of really clears my entire back, loosens my back, my glutes, my hamstrings, even my calves sometimes. So I'll pretty much resort to this when I do stretching, and I actually do this is probably the only thing I do pre-workout and post-workout, right? Other stretches, if you're someone that has lower back issues, this is probably the #1 question I get, probably the most common injury or tight spot in someone's body is their lower back, okay? So with lower back, it's usually not because of the lower back itself. It's actually typically because either their glutes are weak or your hamstrings are tight, okay? So to loosen that up, obviously, focus on strengthening your glutes, but also loosen your hamstrings, okay? So if you're someone that has lower back issues, the very first thing I wanna do is literally, probably one of the most basic stretches, is try and touch your toes, okay? So bend over, straight back, just go and touch your toes. This obviously is stretching out the hamstring, and this when I have any lower back tension or tightness, that's the first thing I do is just stretching out my hamstrings, okay? Give that a go. Once your hamstrings are loose, you'll notice your lower back is a lot looser as well, because your lower back is obviously connected with your glutes and all the way down to your hamstrings, okay? Other dynamic stretches, again, it really depends on where the areas you need to focus on. Just right, that's probably my top one for hamstrings. Hip flexors also seems to be a really tight one for most people, and that can hinder you with squatting, right? Again, if you're not getting full range of motion depth with squats, then you gotta loosen up your glutes, you gotta loosen up your hip flexors. So the best one that I can think of for this is the hip flexor stretch, is where you put one leg forward, right? You cross it over, and then you really activate and stretch out the outside of your glutes and your hip flexors there. So this is probably the best stretch to really open up your hip flexors, your glutes, kind of your whole outside of your leg here. And then some stretches that I like to do, sometimes even during the workout, are stuff for your chest or biceps, okay? Sometimes it can be beneficial to actually stretch the muscle that you worked right after the workout because you're actually getting a lot more blood into that muscle, which can actually potentially yield more hypertrophy, more muscle, okay? So I used to do this a lot, but a lot of chest workouts, I'll end the workout with just stretching out my chest. So I'll go up to a pole, right? I'll grab the pole, with my pinky, and then really open up my chest here, stretch it out for 15, 20, 30 seconds. Again, both sides, and this really opens up the chest, and you feel a lot more blood flowing going into your pecs, okay? I do pretty much the exact same with biceps. So again, use your pinky here, and then try and get your pinky higher than your thumb. That will activate the bicep more. So here, pinky higher than thumb, and then really open up and stretch out that bicep. So I typically do those just to get more blood flow into the working muscle, and I find that especially with the bicep one, especially when you're doing arms and then you go and stretch your bicep, you really feel a lot more blood coming into the muscle there. So that's my advice with static stretching. really ultimately is individualized to you and how much or how stiff you are in your movements. Again, if you can do full range, the goal should be full range of motion. So if you can do that, you don't need to focus as much time with stretching. However, for most people, they aren't able to do that, so you should be focusing on some sort of static stretches for whatever muscle is lagging. So that wraps up the video. I hope you guys enjoyed this video on stretching and warm up, and we'll see you in the next one.